March 18th, 1984. 42-year-old Katsuhisa Izaki comes home from a long day at work. After doffing his stuffy suit, he settles into the tub for a relaxing bath. He was coming up on his 2-year anniversary as president of the Izaki Glico Corporation, a popular multi-million-dollar food and confectionery company based in Osaka, Japan. It was loud back in the office, noisy and crowded, but in his house, it was quiet. It was especially quiet tonight though, only a nice, nighttime ambience for him to relax to. But what he didn't know was that this night would set in motion one of the greatest unsolved cases of all time. At 9:00 p.m., 2 gunmen force themselves into Izaki's bathroom. There, they grab him out of the bathtub and wrestle him out of the house. They place him in the back of their car and drive off into the night. These men weren't just simple thugs, however. Their capture of Katsuhisa Izaki had been methodically planned out. Earlier that night, the 2 gunmen had scaled the brick wall of Izaki's residence. They broke into the property's smaller house, which belonged to Izaki's 70-year-old mother. She was forced to give up the key to her son's house and was then tied up. The gunmen proceeded to enter Izaki's home. They cut the phone lines and made their way upstairs. The kidnappers came across Izaki's wife and eldest daughter, who they swiftly subdued and tied up. They then made their way down the hallway to Izaki. Before long, they had stormed the bathroom and kidnapped the Glico CEO. They drove Izaki to a small pump warehouse in Ibaraki, Osaka. Here, they started the next step of their plan. On March 19th, at 1:15 a.m., Glico's Director of Human Resources, Fujie Hirotake, receives a phone call. The caller directs him to a phone box where he finds a ransom letter. The letter says, in part, "I am holding a hostage. Prepare 1 billion yen in cash and 100 kilograms of gold. I won't negotiate. Just listen to what I say." Glico attempts to pay the ransom in collaboration with the local police. They bring the money to the instructed location but receive no further details. Glico is forced to call the operation off. March 20th, 10 p.m. Izaki is abandoned by his kidnappers. Approximately 14 hours later, he manages to escape the warehouse. He then contacts police and, after almost 3 days of being held hostage, Katsuhisa Izaki is finally brought to safety. But his torment was far from over. April 2nd. A letter is dropped off at Izaki's residence. The letter is accompanied by eye drops filled with hydrochloric acid. The letter reads, in part, "Dear Katsuhisa, do not show this to the police. How dare you break our promise and run away from us? I told you that if you run away or disobey us, we'll kill both you and your wife. My people are really mad at you." The writer of the letter later demands 10 million yen for each person in Izaki's family, a total of 60 million yen. The request was never fulfilled. April 10th. Glico's headquarters is lit on fire, burning 166 square meters of its facilities to the ground. 20 minutes later, the headquarters of a Glico subsidiary company, Glico Nutrition, also catches fire. By this time, the authorities had caught on to the connection between these arson attacks and Izaki's kidnapping. The case was officially classified as Metropolitan Designated Case 114 on April 12th. April 22nd. Glico's corporate auditor, Kiriko Fujisawa, receives a letter. The letter makes a demand for 10 million yen. It goes on to say, quote, "Once we get the money, we'll forgive the president, Glico, and everyone else. If you betray us again, we won't be writing you. Glico will go out of business, and you will all disappear, down to nothing. Signed, the monster with 21 faces." This was the first time that the culprit, or culprits, had signed one of their letters. The name was supposedly inspired by a popular Japanese children's book titled The Fiend with 20 Faces. On May 10th, 1984, a letter claiming to have poisoned select boxes of Glico products is sent to local newspapers. Mass panic erupts across Japan. Many stores in the region immediately pull all Glico products from their shelves. Despite the panic, all products tested by the police yielded no signs of tampering. The now infamous monster with 21 faces would continue to harass Glico and its partnering companies, as well as the people of Japan. However, on June 26th, it would finally end. On that day, a letter is published in Japan's newspapers, saying, "To our fans throughout Japan, we are satisfied. The president of Glico is already gone with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him." They continued, "Police, you did well. Continue with your hard work. Not even Sherlock Holmes could solve this case." Signed, the monster with 21 faces. P.S. I will return in January. Despite their promise, they wouldn't be gone for long. September 12th, 1984. The monster with 21 faces sends a threatening letter to the Morinaga Food Company, demanding a payment of 100 million yen. Knowing what happened with Glico, the company agreed to pay the money, but, much like the case with Glico, there was nobody at the instructed location to receive the payment. The operation was forced to be called off. It seems that the monster with 21 faces was continuing to extort food companies, even during its supposed break. And it seems even more so that Morinaga would be its next target of interest. October 8th, 1984. Breaking their vow of silence to the public, the monster with 21 faces post a letter in the Japanese newspapers. "To all mothers in Japan," they write. "In autumn, appetite is huge. Candy is great. When you think sweets, no matter what you say, it's Morinaga, right? We've added some special flavor to it. The flavor of potassium cyanide is a little bitter. Tell children not to get cavities and buy it for them." Mass panic erupts across the country again, and, like last time, products in stores across the country are immediately pulled from shelves and tested. Unlike the poison threats with Glico, which had turned out false, many Morinaga products actually tested positive for cyanide poisoning. Hearing this news, many other stores, targeted or not, dumped Morinaga's goods. The company was hit hard by this event, and they were forced to lay off more than 400 workers. For the next 10 months, the monster with 21 faces would continue to harass food companies and the Japanese prefecture police. For Japan's police, this case had been a national embarrassment. Despite multiple operations, the police had not caught any of their suspects. They had been chasing the culprits in circles for the better part of 17 months, stakeout after stakeout, heist after heist, and they still had nothing to show for it. August 1985. Unable to handle the growing shame that the monster with 21 faces had placed upon him, the head of the Shika Prefecture Police, Shoji Yamamoto, commits suicide by dousing himself in kerosene and lighting himself on fire. The monster with 21 faces responds with yet another letter. It says, in part, "Yamamoto, who worked his way up, died like a man. That's why we will give him an obituary gift. We will stop bullying the food industry." They then later say, "We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life." After that, they went quiet. The monster with 21 faces, the mysterious group who had haunted Japanese companies, citizens, and its police for 17 months, was never heard from again. But, like some sort of sick joke, despite all of their threats and demands, the monster with 21 faces never took